Hi there. Welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name's Catherine. I make journals out of old books, and I take the old text block out. Sometimes I use some of it or a lot of it, and I add interesting pages back into a new text block and turn it into I think, a pretty cool journal. And it's very unique, at least. So, and it's time to work on Louie, Oscar, and William. Remember them? Oh my goodness, how long has it been since I've worked on Louie, Oscar, and William, and I forgot how much I love this book. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. Really, really, really happy with it. And I really love, if you recall, I've got all kinds of things going on here. If you recall, I was stumped how to save this really pretty cabinet card of this couple. And this actually is Louie and Oscar. Her name was Louisa. I have found it in several different places, Louisa, and then also as Louise. And that's her husband, Oscar. And they lived quite close to where I live, and are buried actually quite close to where I live. And I wanted to be able to save the back of the book. Might as well do a little refresher since it's been so long since we looked through it, because I also wanted to be able to save this beautiful cover. It's a book on the history of William Morris, and it was published just after his death, the year after he died. So if I recall correctly, he died in 1896, and I do think this was 1897. Yes, 1897. So it didn't take them long to put together a book for this fellow here, and start making biographies on his very interesting life. And I also wanted to be able to save the back of this, so not only be able to save how pretty this cover is, and the spine, if you recall, was absolutely falling apart. I mean, it was in pieces. It was, people had been trying to salvage it in many ways. And I'm still going to try my best to make use of these. As you can see here, you can guess what I did with some of it. Ha ha ha. We'll get to that. But for Louie and Oscar, because it looks like she went by Louie, her family called her Louie, because back here it says Louie Smart and Oscar Scott Matchett. And it says about 1905 or 6 with a question mark. And I have a feeling, I really thought this dress, this lovely dress, looked like something that a lady of that era would get married in. And I do think it was her wedding dress, because I did find the registration for their marriage. And their marriage was in 1908. So whoever guessed this was quite close. It was in 1908. So, and because it's that old, I was able to take, do a copy of the registration. This isn't the actual certificate of their wedding, but it is it's when it got registered into the official government books that they got married. So that was my way of, I just put this little envelope on the back. This is a Nancy envelope because it was tea-dyed. The other side is prettier, but I had to be able to glue it down, so I used some ink and a stencil to sort of match it up to Nancy's pretty lace tea dyeing. And I like how that turned out. And I like how this can either be used, as I just did, for only on the cover, or else if the owner wanted to, they could actually wrap it around the whole book. If they wanted to, say they finished the book, it's filled, they want to put it on the shelf, they could use it to hold the book closed. So, and I really forgot how far I got done in this book. It was so long ago I started. And that's kind of the reason for today's video. I wanted to have a little talk with you and to tell you about the summer I had. Mostly to finish explaining to you why I did so few journals. I got so few journals done, and I got so few videos done for me I'm a born chatterbox. And some of you figured out something was up. I was starting to get little private messages saying, hey, is everything okay? Because I was trying my best to just blame it on cataract surgery. But I did have other things going on, and everything's okay. So let me just put that out there. Everything's okay. I'm doing great. But I thought I'd explain to you what's going on, because it still could, from time to time, slow me down a bit. I'm going to try not to let it. But it could. And I figured today was the perfect day to explain to you what was going on, because today is National PBC Awareness Day. September 10th is PBC Awareness Day. And you might be thinking, Catherine, what on earth is PBC? Well, let me tell you. So I hope you enjoyed that little tiny intro into what PBC is. Trust me, I'm new to this too. I've got a whole education in the course of like 3 months. Although apparently PBC, which is primary, as you've learned now, is primary biliary cholangitis. It's a very rare, lucky me, autoimmune disease. So an autoimmune disease is similar. Arthritis is an autoimmune disease. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. It's one of those bizarre things when your body decides to just attack itself for absolutely no reason. And you know, that would be something my body would decide to do. Let's just attack itself. And my body decided to attack the bile ducts in my liver. And they think that most likely I've had it for at least 10 years. But it's one of those diseases that in the initial stages can fly under the radar. And for me, I had elevated liver enzymes for well over 10 years. And there were always very logical reasons why my liver enzymes could be, let's do a little bit of work while we talk. There were always little reasons why my liver enzymes could be slightly elevated. Not enough that they were worried or to look further into it. Initially, the first doctor I had, my first family doctor, when I lived closer to Toronto, she put it off to, I was taking Tylenol at the time. I was still working full-time as a hairstylist, and I was taking Tylenol because I have arthritis in my hands, which, of course, as we know now, is an autoimmune disease. And Tylenol can make your liver enzymes go up. And she said, well, it's probably the Tylenol. Try your best to stay, under the daily recommended dosage, which I always did. And on the days if I wasn't working, I just didn't even take it and toughed it out. But we just sort of let it go. And then, let's see. Oh, I made a little pocket here. So for now, I've put this little lady in here. It's a little paper doll that I have a book of them. It's a reprint because you used to be able to get these as advertisements for like drugstores, pharmacies, and I was able to find a book of reprint of these little paper dolls. So I put her together and then I made her look old, like a child had taped her together. And I just think she's very cute. I'm going to find something else to put in there. And then I did a bit of stamping here. And then my next family doctor, when I moved here to this smaller town, I had to get a new family doctor. And my liver enzymes were a little bit higher up. And she said, let's do a little bit more looking into this. So I appreciated that. Oh, this is what I've got to do today. Here is what I did with some of the original cover spine. I made a whale tail tab out of it. So I put, here, I'll lift it up so you can see it. I put a word snippet on it and a little bit of lace. And over here, this is from a phone book. Remember back then you could get little personalized phone books back in the day when nobody had smartphones. So, and a little bit of a flip up of some lace. Anyhow, so she ordered, I'm going to put a paper doll here so that he's hiding there, and maybe he's being also a little sneaky Pete, like over in A Strange Story. We've got another little voyeur over here. So I'm going to grab a little booklet with something that looks newsy. I got these from Nancy. They're from the 1930s. Again, they're mostly advertisements, but they were made to look like little informative pamphlets. But then it also had ads for, Dr. Miles pain pills. So she sent me for an ultrasound. That's when they found that my gallbladder was full of gallstones, which explained why I sort of had a tender abdomen, but it wasn't horrible. And she said, are you having gallstone attacks? And I said, no, I'm not. And she goes, wow, I'm shocked because your gallbladder's full of gallstones. And she said, well, until you start having attacks, they usually don't take the gallbladder out because it's performing a function in there. So keep an eye on things. If you turn yellow, go to the ER, emergency room. Some people call it an ED, emergency department. Up here, we call it the ER. And she said, and if you start having gallstone attacks, let me know. It'll be time to get it out. And so then I eventually, it took a couple of years, but of course, liver enzymes still going up and up and up. And I like this one with the radio on it. Yeah, let's do this one. And so that's when, a year and a half ago, I had my gallbladder out, if you recall. And that should have meant, she said, this is great, it's out. And I'm going to try this. She said that should be the end of that. And your liver enzymes should just plummet and go right back down to normal. Well, instead, my liver enzymes, because I don't do anything normal, mine decided to go crazy and go even higher really fast. And I started having more attacks that were just like gallstone attacks, only worse. And more frequent. It was awful. It was just awful for a year and a half. Oh my goodness, was I in pain. And they kept trying to come up with different pain relief that I could take that wouldn't harm my liver because my enzymes were going wacko. And if I had an attack, which always happened in the middle of the night, out of a dead sleep, which was just a lovely way to wake up in the middle of the night in agony. And so hence why I was missing in action so often was usually because I'd had a terrible night the night before. Oh, just awful. And so that's when they decided it's time to do some more exploring because something else is going on here. Thank you. There sure is, because I hurt. And so, oh my goodness. So this summer I have been tested and poked and prod and blood work taken out. And I'd actually been to the ER a few times because of painful attacks that wouldn't stop. One time I got my first ambulance ride. That was rather exciting. My poor husband, it wasn't exciting for him, let me tell you. Well, actually, it wasn't exciting for me at the time. It is now, looking back. Let me get some paper. So then, my doctor said, time to call in the big guns. And that's when I was referred to a gastroenterologist slash liver guy. And he ordered a whole bunch more blood work. Wow, I had never had so many vials taken out of my arm. Lots and lots of blood work, and it all came out big, huge red exclamation points all over it. Where I live, you can see your test results online. You can sign in online, and you can view your own test results, which is good and bad, because then you can start looking it up and becoming your own doctor and terrifying yourself and trying to diagnose yourself, because, you know, we all know better. And boy, there was everything there that we knew. At least it was not hepatitis, because you could see that I'd had my Twinrex vaccines, which was pretty cool. So I was protected against hepatitis A, B, and C, but I was not protected. There's a kind of hepatitis called autoimmune hepatitis, which I had never heard of. There's autoimmune leukoid hepatitis, which mimics lupus. And I thought, oh, a few people thought, oh, because it sounded like it could be, maybe that's the culprit. And it also could have been fatty liver disease. And anyone over the age of 45 can get that. It's not even just overweight people. Just about everyone over the age of 45 has fat deposits on their liver. And it also could be what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which would have been my situation because I just don't consume, although it sounds like it, because I do enjoy a martini, but it's usually only a martini when I have one. I am a real lightweight, and more than one, and I'm ready for bed. I don't like that feeling when you've had, for me, 2 drinks will give me that feeling, and I don't like it. So I'm a real lightweight when it comes to alcohol. So that was not the issue. And so then my gastro liver guy, apparently he admitted I had him stumped. I wonder if I should put him over here so you can see that. And I wonder if I should turn this into a pocket. I think I should. I'm going to go get some paper. Okay. Keep a box behind me of cut up file folders. I should have done this first, but it's not too late. Ah, you're stuck. So apparently I even had my gastro liver guy stumped because he's mostly a gastroenterologist with a sort of a, you know, you can have a major and a minor. He sort of has a minor of minor liver issues. So when he called me back in, he actually said, he goes, "You had me stumped." He said, "So I phoned my buddy who's a hepatologist. That's just strictly liver." And he says, "I sent your blood work over to my buddy." And my buddy phoned me right back and said, "Come on, this is easy." He said, "PBC." And he said, "Oh my goodness," a light bulb went on. And turns out I have PBC, Primary Biliary Cholangitis. Used to be called Primary Biliary Cirrhosis because it can lead to cirrhosis, which of course can lead to needing a liver transplant if it goes far enough into cirrhosis, because if your biliary tracts in your liver are not working properly, it will kill your liver. And that's why my liver was causing me, it was inflaming the tissues around my liver, because your liver has no nerve endings. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Yeah, your liver's got no nerve endings. But it can make everything around it hurt, which is what it was doing to me. So, there we go. Might as well make this a pocket. There we go. You're getting a whole PBC 101 here today, you know. There we go. So, The only thing left to do after they finally got the diagnosis correct was to get me on the medication. There's only right now there are only 2 approved medications for PBC. So they've got me on the one that has the best success. And I've been on it for almost a month now, and so far so good. My body seems to not mind it. Apparently it's slow acting, so we really won't see any change in my blood work, like the liver enzymes going down and the ALP and all these things that I'm now learning about. We won't see that going down for about 3 to 6 months. But I am seeing really, really great results already from feeling better and not having attacks, because I can't eat fatty foods. My liver was rebelling against fatty food, and that's what was sending me into absolute agony. Oh my goodness. When I'm talking painkillers, I'm talking very serious painkillers that really weren't even touching the agony that I was in some days. And I haven't needed anything like that in like 3 weeks. It's so nice. Yay! So, which is part of the good news. The other part of the good news for me is PBC, which again, extremely rare, seems to mostly attack women. They say out of like 100,000 PBC patients, 14 will be men. The rest will all be women. And the older you are, the more likely they will be able to control it with medication. If your body likes the medication and does what it's supposed to do. So here's where being 63, yay, is to my advantage. Now, here's where we were a little scared for a little while. For about 2 weeks there, we were a little nervous, was if they caught it in time. He was very honest with my husband and I and said that, yes, I most likely have had this for at least 10 years. So we lost 10 years there. So I was on the cusp of it supposedly being caught early. So there was still a chance that I could possibly be in stage 1 of cirrhosis. But he said he really would have been shocked if that was the case, because my bilirubin was still in a normal level and my albumin was normal, and I wasn't yellow. Yay. And so there was a lot that was leading him to think that I was still early stage. So I did have to go, and thank goodness now they have a new test you can take. It used to be you had to have a liver biopsy, which apparently can be extremely painful. Yikes. I still would have had it done, but yikes. But there's a new kind of specialized ultrasound called a fibroscan. And it doesn't hurt at all. It takes like 5 minutes, and it's like having a regular ultrasound, only you get these little thuds, thud, 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 the way it works. Really weird. The lady was so nice who did it. We laughed our heads off through it. Because I said, you're doing an ultrasound, you better not find a baby in there or I'm going to be really miffed. That's always a good one for when you're having an ultrasound at my age and you've got 5 kids. You've birthed 5 kids and you've had enough. They were beautiful, but I've had enough. I love saving it for that one. Anyhow, just got the results back last week that there's no cirrhosis. So that was such great news. I thought Dan was going to leap across the doctor's desk and kiss him full on the mouth. He was so happy. It was really, really nice to see. He had been so worried and trying to stay so upbeat for me. And my glass is half full kind of person. I simply didn't want to be in pain anymore. I can deal with a lot of things, but a year and a half of pain really starts getting to you. And I must admit, I was really starting to feel really, really discouraged. Just from constantly being in pain. So that's when he got me going on the... So I'm on a medication called Ursidiol. And amongst other medications. Right now I'm on 16 pills a day. But this one pill is the miracle pill for what I've got. And like I said, there's only 2 right now that are approved for PBC. So if my body reacted to this one, there was only one other one that was going to be an option for me. But knock on wood, this one seems to be... My body is not rejecting it. Now we'll find out in November if it's doing what they want it to do. This is crooked. That's why I've got it hanging over the edge. I'm going to tidy him up afterwards. In case you were wondering and saying, Catherine, he's crooked. Yes, he's crooked. I don't even know who he is. He's out of an envelope. I have a clear envelope called paper dolls to cut out because I try my best to make my own paper dolls. I have Christmas paper dolls from Tim Holtz, but I don't have any of the other paper dolls. There we go. He looks good. You are looking dapper, whoever you are. There, so I'll trim that off. So anyhow, so that is the weird news. So, yeah, it's in a way it's not good. I have liver disease. I have been warned that it will, like some diseases, for example, multiple sclerosis, I apparently can expect times where it flares up and then hopefully longer periods of time where it's calm and I feel quite normal. I will have to make changes in my diet, which I am happy to do. I've already had to do it. I sort of learned that on my own through elimination, what would cause attacks and what wouldn't. And I need to be on a really low-fat, high-protein diet. I need to have protein with every single meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I need protein. And I really want that down a bit more. I may take a little bit more off the bottom. So, where possible, minimal medications that my liver has to process, and instead choose medications that go through the kidney and that the kidney processes instead. Let's take that off. Yeah. My legs, knees, ankles, toes like to swell up if I do too much activity, but exercise is good for me, so I have to do it in tiny amounts. Well, that's fine. Kirby is happy to help me with that. We go on small walks every day. and compression socks help with that too. So that's good too. And small meals, not a big huge meal earlier in the day. So I try to make sure I've had my dinner and it's finished by 6 p.m. and then no food after that. Things like that will help with this. Urstiel can be very difficult on your esophagus, so apparently I'm going to need endoscopies about every 3 years to make sure that my esophagus is okay. That's good, because then there's still journaling space here, but also a tuck space hidden under there. I like it. So that's good, and gives me, like I said, I'm feeling optimistic, and that's if there's anything that you can do for me, my beloved subscribers, you're all wonderful, and if there's anything that you can do for me, it would be messages of "you got this" and "you're good to go" and that kind of thing, uplifting ones, because I have had a few, I've had to explain to a few of my other doctors, well, I recently was diagnosed with PBC, and they sort of would do the, "oh, I'm sorry," and I, no, I wasn't given a death sentence, no. I want, "you got this." You can do this. I'll even take you. You go, girl. I'll take it. So there it is. There, I've spilled my guts there. I've laid my liver right out on the table for you, so to speak. And so if I am missing for a few days, it could very well be that it's just acting up and being a little stinker. But I've been listening to podcasts and reading. And one doctor who was giving a lecture at the PBC convention, there's a PBC convention, and he was saying he has a patient, she's in her 80s, she's had it for 20 years, and she's doing fantastic. And that's my goal. I'm going to beat her. That's my goal. I am happy to, my husband is diabetic. So, I've seen him all these years being very careful about what he can eat and what he can drink. And now it's my turn to step up to the plate. And so we're helping each other out here. And I am, like I said, I'm very optimistic about this. And if you want to be supportive, September is PBC Awareness Month. Our awareness ribbon is a dark green ribbon, which is the same as for liver disease, because it is a liver disease. And apparently October is Liver Disease Awareness Month. So in a way, I get 2 months now. Woohoo! Woohoo! I guess. Woohoo! It is what it is. If it wasn't that, it would be something else. So there you go. There's my little secret of the summer that was more than just cataracts. It was an awakening for me and for many of my doctors who thought, "oh my goodness, you had that all this time." And it really is a mystery disease. Sadly, the younger women who are diagnosed, they do not fare as well. That happens with a lot of diseases. For example, breast cancer for really young women is much harder to deal with than for older women whose hormones have calmed down. There's a kind of leukemia that if you get it older, it's extremely controllable with medication. And there's no reason not to die of just old age with that kind of leukemia. And so that's what they're hoping for me with this primary biliary cholangitis. I still have to get used to it. I keep wanting to call it PBS, which of course is the really awesome TV station up here that has the great shows on it, like Downton Abbey and Masterpiece Theater and all that. So I got to stop calling it PBS. It's PBC. So there you go. If you're still here after all of that, thank you. And thank you. You know who you are. All of those who've been sending me little messages saying, where are you? Something's going on. Are you okay? Thank you. Thank you to everyone for your patience with me. And like I said, if you want to, messages of "you got this," those would be wonderfully accepted. I don't see any reason for any "oh dear" kind of messages. Upbeat, you got this. So, because I got this. And I got a bracelet now. Take care. I'm going to hopefully, after I turn this off, do a flip through video of A Strange Story and hopefully maybe get that up for sale soon and send it off to its new home. So have a great rest of your day. Thanks for sticking around here with me. I appreciate you and I love you all. And we will talk soon. Bye.